All right, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. This is onboarding session number 4. Just one being student pages. Talk about how that works and difference mainly between any form on your site versus a student page form. And then we're also going to have a deep dive into billing and invoicing features as well. And as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in the chat box, and I will get to them as soon as I can. I'm also going to include a link to the YouTube page in case anyone's having trouble hearing or seeing my screen. So that is now in the chat. Okay, so let's get started here. All right, so I just kind of want to outline the difference between a student page form and a regular form, okay? So there's only one key difference, and that's actually the student field selector. So let me just go here and check out some forms that we have on our demo site. Let's see, so so even like something like an accident report, whatever it may be, you can see, and they'll all look the same on all your sites. Basically, this is the student field selector here. Okay, and if you click on it, you get a list of all the students in a drop-down. So you don't have to populate all these. This is pulling from your list of students, which, by the way, we'll take care of as part of your setup for any new school. So this is the key difference between student page forms and a regular form. A regular form will not have this field. Okay, so you actually have to add it into the form. Okay, assuming you want this to also be linked to a particular child's page. And generally you would, especially once the parents are already registered. You want to capture any information that they're filling out so that it can be easily seen from the teachers and from the parents alike on their student's page. And so this page is completely private, actually. As an admin, you're going to be able to see all of the students in the list. However, a teacher, unless they're linked with anyone, they won't be able to see anyone. So typically they'll be linked with their own students, right? That's best practice. And so they'll only see a list of their own students for their class. And parents, when they come here, are only going to see their own children. And I'm going to show you in this training session how we're going to link the students to parents and teachers alike. And so if I'm a parent, I come here, I'm only going to see my own child. I can click on them. And so here, I'm going to show you what the end result is going to be on your own site. So on top of displaying, the teachers and the parents' names, as well as pictures, which are optional that you can add, here is what we're looking at, right? So this page is basically centralizing all of the data for a particular child into one page, okay? And it automatically adds each form that you fill out for a child, Dora in this example, onto this page per form. So you can see we've got behavior, we've got napping log, snack log, right? Emergency contact information. So this page, so the idea here is that teachers can access all the information in one place, and it's really easily accessible to them. So all of this information we're looking at was automatically populated on this page. The only thing that you have to do is fill out a form, or a parent can, either way. Typically, it can be the teachers filling out, like an student's form and linking them to the child, and that will automatically appear on this page. So the first thing that we're actually going to cover is creating an individual student. Okay, and we're going to do this manually, in the case where a new family comes to your school, and you're already past your onboarding phase. So we're obviously going to help you upload all the students, your current and past, but this would be for, let's say, a new student coming to your school. Okay, so it's really, really easy to do. There's just a couple steps here. So step number one is we need to go to the dashboard. And before I do anything, I'm just going to quickly switch into an admin account. You guys are seeing the same thing that you'll see on your own site. Okay, so let's go to the dashboard now. Okay, and so there's not much to this actually. We're going to look for students. And we're going to go, so you can either go to all student pages or we can just click add new to create a new student. Okay, so brand new student here. Let's just, you enter the name at the top, so I'll just do Zach. And you can always add a featured image, which would just be like a picture of the child to feature their profile. And as in Leo's case, there were a whole bunch of additions that can be added in this area here. Things simple. You just have to enter the name of the child, the student, and hit publish. Great. So when you do that, you'll notice that if you scroll down, we've got the new student permissions box. Okay, and you can always expand it if it's not selected. And so this actually allows us to manually link the student to teachers and to parents right here. Okay. So, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm just going to select some teachers here. And I'll select the parent. We can add new parents right here if you want multiple. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So what this does, and it's really important because without this step, nobody has access, besides the admins, of course. You will always have access. But aside from you guys, this teacher and parents here will not have access to all this important information unless it's really important. And we do that as a privacy feature to protect you guys, so that other parents, of course, can access the wrong child's information. So okay, so let's say I'm happy with this. I'm going to hit update, and the page is now created. Now it's not populated yet because I filled out any forms or submitted any information, but it definitely is there, a blank page. So we've connected the student to a parent and to teachers. So I want to show you guys how to connect students to teachers in bulk. Okay. So under students here, under student pages, you'll see there's a bulk edit feature. So that's really handy because you don't have to go into each student and link them to a teacher. That would definitely take a while. So, this was built in order to save you guys time. So all you need to do, you would select the teacher, and then you would just check off some students here. Okay, and so I'll hit update, right? And then you can go through each teacher and just make sure that they're assigned to their respective students. And what that does, not only does the teachers access to those pages, but when the teacher goes to fill out a form and they use the student field, which I'm going to show you guys in just a moment, it will actually, when they click on it, it will just pull down a drop-down list of only their students for their class, okay? All right, so moving on, what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna create a form, okay? We'll create a student page form. We're gonna fill it out, and then we're gonna go visit that student's page. We'll use Zach just because it's brand new. So first, let's go to Forms, and we're gonna hit New Form. See the student list? Don't believe so. I tried clicking um, on the student name, and it did not sort. So let me have a look into that and run it by my team and see if there's a way to filter that down. But great question. Okay, so let's create this form. Okay, we'll call this a student page form onboarding training. And so we've got another question asking, is this how teachers also get their class lists? So yes and no. It's definitely one way because they can, see the list right there in the bulk edit. That way doesn't let you export. So if they're okay just pulling up a list to view, then definitely. If you wanted to do an export, then you would have to go in Forms under Import and Export, and you could import that data. Okay. So as I mentioned, there's a really important field called students, right? This is the student page field. And so we're going to add that in the form first right here. Again, as you can see, it pulls a list of all students um, in your entire school, actually, but that will filter down based on the user that's logged in and filling out the form because they need to be linked to the child. And so what I like to do is open it up and just change the label so it's clear. Change it to student, or you can say select your student. It doesn't really matter, just so it's clear. Okay, so now we've added the student field, right? So that means that when we submit this form, the data is going to go, and whichever students we select, it can be actually if you're using for like an attendance form, there can be multiple or all of the students selected at once, and it will post each of their pages individually. So you say, present and all, submit. It's going to individually populate each page with the same information, with the date saying they were present, and it'll all be time stamped as well. So really, it's up to you guys what you want to include in your student page form. I'll just throw some examples here. If you guys have any ideas or anything that you want to see, just let me know. So we'll do different versions here. And you guys can get creative as you'd like with these forms. Okay, let's add another one here. Let's add something about allergy, maybe. We can do emergency contact info as well. And that's pretty important stuff. So that when it's, if a teacher has to pull that up right away, they can just go click student on the menu, find the child pulled up right there. So they don't have to do any digging or searching really. Okay, so I'm going to keep this really simple for today. And I'm just going to hit update form. So mention, and that's these forms, as you submit them, by default, they're not notifying parents. However, we've had that request over time, and so what we've done is we've built it into this feature, and it's actually in this student field. So let me show you if you click in on here, and you go to advanced, you'll see it says don't send notifications. If you select always send, then basically what that will do is when you fill out this form, it knows, right, let's say I select Harry Potter here, who Harry Potter is connected to as far as the parents go, right? Because they're all linked in the system. So what that does is it automatically pulls the email for Harry Potter's parents, for mom and dad, and it will send out basically just an exact copy of what you submitted. So, an example would be if you ever need to submit or if you ever need to share, maybe an accident report with parents in real time because you want them knowing what's going on and being up to date. That's just what I can think of off the top of my head here. Okay, so I'll leave this to no. We don't want to notify anyone right now. You can also select manual, which will actually appear at the bottom of the form when you submit it. And then you can say, this I'd like to send it, but the next time I'm not going to send it. So it's just a case-by-case basis there. So anyways, I'm happy with this form. Let's hit update. Okay, so we've got a question. Is there a way to do attendance form with the students' names in a class in alphabetical order so the teacher can, one, have a class list in a form and also just click on present or absent. So that's actually kind of what we're doing here, but that's exactly how it works. So um, let's say a teacher was not linked to any students, okay? Assuming they are linked, then it's going to just show their own class list. If they're not linked, it won't show anyone. So again, under students, bulk edit. So that's where you would link. So let's just use Naomi for an example since I'm logged in as her. She's also an admin. But anyways, so the idea here is that these 4 students are going to show up for whichever teacher you select here. Okay, and only those ones. So that will be your class, and then you can just hit, and I'll show you in a second here. We're going to jump to the front end, and you can just hit present, and it will appear to students if you want. Okay, so here's our form. I'm going to click on that. right? And again, so I already mentioned Naomi is an administrator, so you want to make sure that you only have one role on your site for each member. So, but if she had the teacher role, then she would only see those 4 students that were checked off, right? But admins are going to be able to see everyone. So, this would show just her class on your guys' site. And what you can do is hit select all, right? You can even remove some if you want, but then you go ahead and you can hit present, right? You don't even need these other fields here. I just added them for training purposes, but you could just go ahead and hit submit and it will time and date stamp everything and that will appear on their page. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And let's actually go back and just fill this out one more time, except this time I'll just select one student. And we'll select Zach, that's who we're working with. We just created that student, right? So it's still going to be pretty blank. There won't be pictures or anything yet, but we can easily add that. And then this one I'll say absent. Okay, so I'm going to hit submit. All right, now what we're going to do, so we've created the student page form, filled it out, and now we're going to visit the student's page to verify that we've done everything correctly. Okay, so let's look for Zach. Okay, and so there it is. This is the name of our form. This automatically populated here. I've connected to some teachers and parents here as well, so those are all also showing up. And then yeah, if I scroll down here, this is the 2 entries. So one, the present one, we submitted with the entire class, right? But it only brought the 1 entry here because it posts one on each of the students' pages. And for the other one, we just did Zach, so it won't show the other students' pages, right? Like if only one student was absent, then you just want to isolate that student. And of course, just to recap, you guys can always go and preview the entries as well as edit them if you need to make any changes. So I can go in here and change this to present, hit update. So it's really easy to do so. And then when you refresh, it'll their changes will be reflected there. Okay, great. So yeah, I mean, the idea here, and I'll just take you back, fill out one more form, but the idea here is that you're filling out all these different forms either at once or more likely throughout the year. And you're filling them out as any regular forms that you would fill out in the past. The only difference is now it's all being, centralized together on the student's page. Okay, so all of the form entries per student. So let's fill one out just so we can get 2 forms. So this would be an accident report. You can list the time. So location, maybe it was on the classroom. You can upload a photo if you need to, actually. And then teacher would sign off and hit submit. And then so now if we go back to the student's page, same as any other student page form, as long as you have that selector in there, you know that it's going to automatically appear on their page. One form, and now we've got another one down here. Okay, so there's the date, time, location, and we can always expand more and see what was going on here. Mm. So as far as student pages go, there really isn't much to know besides is in forms that parents or teachers alike are filling out for students. Okay, so other than that, everything kind of takes care of itself because this page is being automatically populated. There's no copying or pasting or linking anything. It's all right here. So that really covers student pages. And if anyone has any final questions before we move on, just let me know, because we're going to be taking a dive into billing and invoicing in just a minute here. Okay, so let's move right along to invoicing. So um, we're going to go to the dashboard for this. So we have a question, is there a way to review this session? Absolutely, because you signed up for it. As long as you register, whether you're here or not, you'll get a link to replay the session. They'll also be publicly broadcasted live on our YouTube channel for the Hubbli info team. So, but if you still can't find it, just shoot me an email or help@hubbli.com and we'll send you off the link to rewatch it. And those will never expire, by the way. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to look for invoices. Okay, so we still have a question regarding student page, and so the question is about can parents sign in the kids rather than the teachers? And the answer is yes. The only thing that you need to consider is that they need to be logged in, right? So as long as parents are comfortable logging in and it's not taking too much time, then absolutely they can fill it out. All they need to do is be linked to the child. Okay, they can even do it on their phone if you want, but they do have to log in. So just keep that in mind in case we don't want any backup, of course, when parents are lined up in the morning. So it may be easier for the teacher just to stay logged in and take attendance in one shot, but that's up to you guys. Okay, so let's go to invoices and just click on invoices here. So before we start anything, and here's just a list of some invoices on our demo site. But before we get too into, before we really create an invoice and do any of that stuff, I just want to mention that um, part of our support and your service here is that we'll actually help you upload and create all of these invoice accounts. So it's actually a brand new feature, and basically what it is just an Excel template. Okay, so nothing too fancy here, but it will actually allow you to input the names of the invoices and all of the line items actually for what you're going to be charging the parents and sending out in that invoice. And on top of that, for those of you who already are familiar with invoicing, you'll know that they need to be linked to an account, right? And linking them to the account allows it to automatically pull the emails from those users so that the invoice gets sent to the two parents or however many there are. And so what I'm trying to say is that when we upload that Excel file and import it to the system, it's going to create all of the accounts in one easy swoop. It will also automatically link all of those accounts all the invoices, sorry, to their accounts. Okay, so it used to be a manual process, but it's not anymore. But for as far as this session goes, we're not going to bulk import invoices. I'm going to show you actually how to create an invoice, assuming that you let us, take that off your hands. As far as the bulk import goes, I'm going to show you guys how you would create, like a one-off invoice, or maybe if a new family came, I'll show you how to create one for them. All right. So first thing we want to do is click Add Invoice. Okay, you can either do it here from the Invoices page, or you can go to Add Invoice right there. And if you need that invoicing template, just send us an email to help@hubbli.com, and we'll be happy to send one off to you right away. Okay, so this is what a new invoice template looks like. Similar to some other tools if you're used to online invoicing. So first, let's just give this a name. Okay, we can call this September tuition. And it always comes with this, blank line item. I'm just going to remove that actually. And what you can actually do is you can have all these different saved line items. So we've saved a bunch of these, like annual tuition, monthly, 3-hour toddler, there's all these different ones. And you can always go down to the very bottom under admin, and there's manage items and create items. So you would just go and hit create, and you can make a new one. And that way, the result of that is that when you go to this saved items list, pick any one of these, and it automatically populates the description here, which you can modify as well. But more importantly, the rate and quantities are filled out. So what you have is a nice total down there, and then you're pretty much good to go. So we also haven't saved this yet. There's just a couple more steps we need to take to make sure that everything is there. So the line items is number one. So assuming that your total is correct, you can move on to the next step. So now we just need to link this to a family. Okay. Families would be the accounts. And again, if you guys don't have anyone in this list, just let us know and we'll help you guys set that up and import all your accounts as well. So when items are saved, when we pull it up, it's only for an individual account. It's actually for it's kind of like a global setting. So it's not just for any invoice. You could have, as long as you save them here, basically anytime you go to create a new invoice, and of course I have to save this for them to populate, but those will show up. So anytime you say add new invoice, line items should be saved for any invoice. It's like a global setting there. Under invoice for client, we need to select a family, right? And this family, let's do Ron Weasley. So this family consists of usually 2 parents, and their email addresses are all tied there, okay? So you just have to hit OK. That's all you need to worry about. Of course, you can edit these other settings, like issued on and the due date. But assuming that you've done that, the only thing left to do now is to save this invoice. And when I do that, you'll see that this temporary status is going to actually be set to pending payment because we haven't sent it out yet, and hitting save will not send it out. It will just update the status and basically prepare it to send it out. Okay, so we can see now it's updated to pending payment. And of course, we can always just go down and review everything is correct, which it does look like it is. Okay, So and now I'm going to show you how we send this out. Two places. One at the very top here, there's the little L symbol here. So click on that, it actually just brings you down to the bottom to invoice. So it looks like it's collapsed, so I'm just going to go ahead and expand it. Perfect. And so then you can select the recipient. So in this case, Ron Weasley has one parent, and that is Jack. So we can see that her email appears here. And so we would just check it off. Typically, you'll see 2 emails to check off. If you want, you can actually add in an email as well if it's not in your system, or if you want to send it to anyone else, even at your school. And then if you want, you can send yourself a copy, but I'll keep it unchecked. And if you have any notes you want to include in the email that they get, what you can do is just include them here, and they'll just see it as a notification. All right, so assuming that you're ready to send this out, go ahead and hit send. And that's it. So it says notification queued, but that will go out. Okay, so just go back to the main invoices page, and I'll confirm with Jacqueline in a minute or two that she got the email. So the parents will get like a nice notification, all formatted, and it will basically say, here, this amount is due. And then when they click there, perfect, she just told me that she received it, which is awesome. So when they click on that, it'll actually take them to the invoice page, which I totally forgot to show you guys. So let's just go back in here. So you can just hit view, actually. We don't even need to go in. You can just hit view to see what it looks like. And you can do this before you send it out, of course. All right, so you can put your logo in there. Let us know if you need a hand with that. And you've got this nice invoice. Parents can just click pay at the top. And they can go in and pay with their either with their checking account if they have online banking, or they can pay by credit card. But this is what the invoice looks like, right? So you've got a total. And you've got all of the, again, if you need help with any of this, setting up the default terms or anything, just send us an email, help@hubbli.com, or feel free to book a one-on-one support session as well. So yeah, there's the invoice. Not much to it. Parents can see it. You can click pay. And so what happens is, so the idea here is that you guys can use Hubbli Pay actually to accept payments for tuition. That will get processed, and it will show up directly in your bank account. So you might be thinking, well, how do I add my bank account to this and get set up? It's really easy, actually. So we have a form on your site, actually. So if you're logged in as the administrator account and you go down to settings, you can go in here and click on paste in merchant. Okay, so that would be the first step to getting set up. Okay, and so this is our demo site. So it looks a little different than yours. You're not going to see this. See a form that you actually all of your banking information, and that will, in a few days, they'll deposit 2 really small amounts to your account, both, like 10 cents here, 20 cents there, and just for a verification process. And then once you do that, you'll be actually set up to receive payments. And so that when you send out the invoice, parents can just log into their existing bank accounts. So, like I bank TD here, I would get an email, click on it, and then when I view the invoice, and I'm just going to go back there right now. When I view the invoice, I can just pay online, and that will take me to a form where I can just log in directly to my TD bank account. Okay, and so this is what it looks like. All right, so you have all these different banks. You can search for a bank up here. you can, you basically just enter in your email, and then this button would light up, okay? And you would just hit pay, right? So it'd be really, really easy to do. Again, this is one of our testing sites, so it will look a little different than yours, but the idea here is that, parents can really easily go in, even from their phone and just log in and pay you guys. Okay, so we have a question about getting quarterly reports for accounting purposes. So we do have a section here that you can click on. So under invoices and payments, sorry, this is not the right place. This is actually a different place, but this is just kind of a list of all the completed payments. But if you want a report, then you'll actually go here under Sprout Invoices. Okay. And so under reports, we're in the dashboard view right now, so you can kind of just see like an overview of when the payments are received, and you can switch that with months. If you want to get really detailed, you can go to invoices or payments. Let's go to payments right now, and then of course you can sort that quarterly by the date of at the top. Okay, so here you can see all the payments that were made. Anything that's outstanding will show up here. Of course, you can always export this into Excel or as a PDF, but the idea here is that you can just select a date. So we can just go to date picker and say the month of September, from September 1st to the 30th. Let's go back a month. There we go. So those are all the invoices, the payments rather, that were completed. You can always see the balance ending here. So on top of that, you can filter by clients. So this gives kind of like an overview family. And you can always just click in there and expand. You can see like the total amount that was invoiced, the total that they paid, etc. You can always flip down by one of these headers at the top. So we can filter by client, right? Now this client, or demo editor family, that would be a family right there, Smith family, for that specific person or family. And depending on you might just be better off doing an export in Excel, but CSV if you need to do advanced calculations or any type of filter like that. Okay, so those are where all the reporting tools are. And you should be able to get there from actually under the dashboard. Sprout Invoices right here as well. Takes you right to the reports page. Yep, so then you can toggle through invoices, payments, or clients. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. If you guys do have any other questions, feel free to chime in right now. And if not, then I'm just going to give you guys a reminder where to find all of our help docs, and that is on support.hubbli.com. You can click on support docs. So I know yesterday I was doing a webinar, and the first half was geared towards setting up appointments, specifically like school tours and parent-teacher conferences. And I just wanted to let everyone know that, in case they didn't want to rewatch, a long webinar, they can always just either click on a category here or a feature, or you can actually just search right here. So if I search school tour, the very first thing that comes up is how to set up school tours. Okay, so don't forget that the knowledge base is here for you guys whenever you need. We've got step-by-step how-tos and also videos. And by the way, don't be afraid to let us know if there's something on here that's missing, something that's important to you that you'd like to see on there. We'd love to hear from you. So feel free to send us an email, help@hubbli.com. That's the priority support for our customers. And just let us know your mind. Okay, so I just want to thank everyone for coming out today. And again, or you feel like you want to do a one-on-one support session and ask specific questions to your site, that's totally cool. We're here for you guys. So feel free to go to our support calendar right here on support.hubbli.com and feel free to book a session. This will round robin through our support teammates here. All right, well, thanks again, everyone. You're going to receive a link to this recording about half hour or so. All right, take care, everyone, and have a great day.